Here's a thought that I'm hoping will take you from an insight to inspired action. An inspired action being something that more than just an activity or a task, it's something that has some meaning, it has purpose, it has power. It has the kind of stuff behind it that'll make you continue to see it all the way through. This is for all the change and transformation managers out there who are trying to understand the distinction between change and transformation. Change is a step within the transformation process. Change is ongoing. It's always been going. It continues to go. And before there were change managers, businesses have been changing and transforming for decades, centuries. They didn't have change managers. So what makes now so special? Is it the complexity of business? Complexity of the tools? The fact is, the tools may have changed. The real complexity and change is people. Now, granted, we're going to say a number of things around people are more complex because we've developed cultures and societies where it's about me. Me, 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 me. You don't have the kind of cultural dynamics like, let's say, in Japan, where for a long time it was people looking at themselves as part of a whole, being dedicated to that whole. In Western society, we have a real focus on me. Me, me, me. And what does that do? It makes jobs like change management even more complex because anybody who's done individual coaching will know getting one person to go through a journey, to transform, to make a change, to develop a new habit, whether it's working out, whether it's reading, or maybe it's doing something like eating better, just a diet. That in itself is a challenge. If you're a parent trying to get a child or children to make small changes, that they completely know exactly why you're doing it, what you want out of it, it's clearly communicated, you still can't get them to make that change. A man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. It sounds maybe even cliche, but it's true. The fact is you can get people to make a change. Maybe I can get my son to clean his room more often, which, by the way, he does quite well and to a high standard. It's just a matter of consistency now. But that took months, if not years, with one individual. One individual that I have the authority, and I control the purse strings. I control when his meals are made, what he gets. And I still managed to get it done in a matter of months rather than instantly. The fact is, if we're business change and transformation professionals, we need to recognize the fact that if you can't get an individual to do that, if you can't get a few people to do that, if you can't even get a small group of 15 to 20 people to do that, how dare we talk about the ease and the efficiency of organizational change on a global basis with ERP systems or any other change of habit, change of platform, change of process, change of behavior. It's far more complex than a lot of these simplified models will say. And yet, simple it can be in the sense of the steps and the processes, whether we're talking about the ADKAR's model, Kotter's incremental change management, the steps, the change is relatively easy. The transformation is hard. Now, what we have to do as an industry, what we have to do as a profession, as a discipline, is that we have to get people to recognize that this is huge. And it's going to cost money. It's going to cost time. It's going to have a level of commitment that is going to transcend sometimes even the tenure of some of the people who sponsor and support this. It has to be ingrained. It has to be part of a vision of a collective management, a collective leadership. That they have committed to this to where they even say to their shareholders, what we're doing is going to take a decade. This commitment is not short, and it will be painful in some respects. But it is a commitment to a future that we want for this organization that's going to give you sustained returns, not only over years, but over decades. The reality, that's a tough sell. That's the challenge why a lot of people in the change community are talking to each other instead of talking to the people who are actually paying. Yes, there are those isolated individuals or groups, or even that 0.001% of all businesses that are committed to this and will see it all the way through. But the financial commercial pressures that a lot of the C-level people are under, it's not something that they can fully commit to. So they're going to try and get the short-term rewards. And that's why we, as a collective, as a community, have to be able to show those incremental change benefits, the experiential and the tangible, and importantly, the commercial benefits. The reason for even sharing this right now is because I'm seeing a growing number of people within the change community and the change profession who are recognizing this is super, super complex. And it's our job to do the work, to do the research, to do the collective, collaborative work to get the people who are paying for this to understand the size of the task, and that maybe we need to call out the elephant in the room, that this is big, it is complex, and it is going to be expensive. However, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, one change at a time, incrementally. And the kind of professionals that it needs to step up to do this kind of work are the kind of people who recognize they're willing to do the study and the work, like the doctors, like the accountants, like the lawyers, who did hours, months, years of work, research, and the hard work to be able to understand how to simplify what it's done into those stages, but also how to implement it. Implement it effectively, implement it in stages where the value is demonstrated as we go through each step, each stage of whatever that framework or model might be. My call is to the change and transformation professionals that we start to work together to make the message more clear and more beneficial in real terms, tangible terms, experiential terms, that we start to make change and transformation part of the everyday. The tools, the strategies, and what we do, part of business as usual. But do it as professionals, where we recognize that we have to align our language, and we have to, in the old phrase, physician heal thyself, maybe use those same tools that we profess are so great on our own profession to have an aligned view, a clear message, that even job descriptions that are created are clear to the people that are not only being recruited, but the people who are recruiting. That the benefits and the way that they're measured are consistently understood, not just by the professionals, but by the people that we seek to serve. This is my call. This is my mission, my vision. And I hope that there are other people that, like me, see that this is difficult, but it is possible if we work together. Again, just another thought that I hope will be an insight that inspires you to action.